Hey chaps, welcome to episode 22 of Nemcast. It's been a while. Happy New Year, and I hope you've all had a good Christmas and all that stuff. Today I'm joined by BT, or Tom, from Optac Kingdom, and he's sort of like the game master at Optac, aren't you, really?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So
game writer.
We'll get into properly introducing you after this brief ad break, and we'll catch you soon. And we're back. So thank you for being patient watching the ad. Do you want to introduce yourself, dude?
Yeah, so I'm Tom, or BT. I am the game writer, game master, whatever you want to call it, for Optac the Kingdom. Bumped into you guys not so long ago, and it's all sort of taken off.
Unfortunately for you, you bumped into our group of hefty autists, and here we are.
Well, I needed a tech, so...
Yeah. Basically, long story short, you're the one that's designed the game for our battle sim that we've got coming up.
Yes.
And I've sort of jumped in and helped a little bit because we don't want it to be too serious, do we?
No. Is it like battle sim light? Is that the term we're using?
When I was initially sort of approached about doing an event, I thought, right, I've got a couple of options. I could either do a mil sim, I could do a full-on battle sim, which is sort of like a mil sim light, or I could really tone it back and make it sort of like an easy skirmish with simple rules and nice and clean cut, but we can all still have fun. The kind of thing where, because obviously I'm a dad, it's somewhere where I could, when my lad's a bit older, I could bring my son and I could have a good weekend. It's not too serious. You can kick back, have fun, and that was the idea.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So this is what this episode's going to be about. We are essentially going to be going over the game brief in loose terms. There's things, it's subject to change. Things might change a little bit as time progresses because we're getting different ideas all the time.
Oh yeah, definitely. It seems like daily when we'll mess each other and it'll be like, oh, what about this or what about this?
I've had this idea. I've seen this really good thing, and then you go, that's a shit idea. I go, yeah, you're probably right. But so where do you want to start then? So we've got two teams. Well, technically it's three teams, but there's two main teams that bookable players will be put into. So there's red and blue, isn't there? Yeah.
So instead of doing camo rules and keeping it as simple as possible. Just going to do armbands, red and blue armbands. Mm-hmm. Keep it simple. No one's moaning about, I've bought all this camo and now I've got orange tape on me.
I don't want to buy multi-cam. I don't want to buy this camo. I don't want to buy that. We're going to have red and blue armbands, or maybe just blue armbands and then the other one are not.
Yeah.
Maybe I think we both keep colours because that keeps it fair. Because there's no one team's brighter than the other.
Exactly, and like I say, it plays into that sort of mil sim or battle sim light kind of hybrid skirmish sort of day, doesn't it? It keeps it fair, keeps it fun, and that is the.
I think armbands on both arms are a stipulation we had as well, because I don't want people to approach a group with just one side showing. It's a bit sketchy, and you go,
yeah, who's that? Yeah, just crabbing around everywhere.
So we've got. So what are the team names? Because you remember this shit, I can't remember it.
So we're going for a rough sort of like PMC group kind of vibe. So I think we've come up with a Corvus group Red Squadron, Red Team, and then a bit of a play on a Foreign Legion type, group. So Force Internationale with some sort of accent on an E somewhere.
So we've got there is a rough sort of team names, and there's going to be team leads.
Yeah.
So each team, there's going to be sort of like a cadre of commanders, but it's going to be they're there purely to disseminate information. So if someone's wandering around going, I don't know what I'm doing, there's going to be a commander or a team lead knocking about. They'll be quite clearly marked as, say, a blue team, but they'll have a high-vis band on as well. So you can identify they're going to be able to disseminate accurate information as to what's going on. So we've not got any sort of confusion.
Yeah.
But there's going to be two primary team leads, isn't there?
Yeah, so have a sort of a 1 IC and a 2 IC who will be there all in comms, disseminating information about missions and timings, and then like a cadre of bods to do their bidding.
Yeah, think player marshal is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Now we've got fobs. They're going to be designated fobs, but we're going to make separate fobs to the normal game structures in the area, and they're not going to be attackable. Basically, there is a good reason for that. Now we've had a bit of a back and forth as to whether they should be attackable or not, and we decided in the end, no, you can't attack the other team's fob. Because if people want to go back, rehydrate, chill out for a minute, reload the guns, it's a fairly safe space. Not safe enough to take your iPro off, but safe enough to chill out, have a relax, have a drink, etc.
Yeah.
And you can get re-informed as to what the next objective is, that sort of thing. Now, the team commanders are going to have a little booklet, well, like an A4 book, with each objective. Now, there's 3 commanders in the game. You're going to be one of them as the game master.
I am indeed, yes.
And
the warlord.
There's the red and the blue team. They're all going to have these booklets with an objective, A4 paper, nice and simple. It's going to be the picture of the objective and the times it's going to go live and the reward for that objective. No location, though. The reason we're not doing a location is because we don't want people to stumble across them, grab them, drag them back to the fob, and it sort of ruins it for everyone. So these objectives are going to be delivered just before the time by your team, which is the third sort of separate entity. The Goon Squad.
The Goon Squad,
affectionately named them. Now, what we didn't want to happen is you get this objective, you take it back to the fob, you've scored a point. I think that's a bit of a... Everyone does it. It's a bit of a dead trope.
Yeah.
It's
a prop hunt.
You don't get much out of the prop that way, because there's only so many cool props a site is going to own and make in time for any event. And you're not getting much money's worth out of those props. So what we've done is we've sort of come up with a bit of a monetary system, which is a gold bar. Cue the meme.
I love gold!
Now, there's going to be a load of these gold bars. I'm going to print them. They're 3D printed. They're nice and cheap and light. Please don't break them. And the idea is you get the prop, you get it to the game master, who's going to be in a set location. This location isn't going to change over the weekend.
No, it's the same place, fairly centralised to the site.
And he's going to give you the value of gold bars for that prop. Once you've got the prop to him, he's going to give you the gold bars. You take the gold bars back to your fob. That's the gold bars then safely banked. The team with the most gold bars at the end of the weekend wins. It's that cut and dry. So you can have a bit of a monetary system. Now, there is something you can do with this money. Do you want to go into that?
Yeah, so, leaning into the sort of the fun aspect of it, how do we do that? So, obviously, if you don't know, and if you've not been to OpTech before, we've got several vehicles we use, some Land Rovers, some gun trucks, some larger trucks.
I will preface, there will be a YouTube short and a bit of a highlight on those vehicles coming up very soon. So, sorry, dude, carry on.
That's all right. So, I think the way we're going to do it is, we'll have... How we usually work at OpTech is that once you've been hit, once you've been medicked, and if you need to respawn, you go to the nearest uncontested location. The problem with that is sometimes that uncontested location could be a 20-minute walk in one direction, which takes you out of the game for quite a while. So one of the ideas we thought, what about respawns on a vehicle? Good idea. We can police that quite well with little counters and stuff. So one of the ways you can spend your gold bars after completing an objective is take a gold bar to your team's Land Rover. That buys you X amount of more respawns. So we start off with 10, but if you go to that driver and say, look, here's a gold bar, you'll get 30 more. And that can really help swing the tackle.
The driver will say whether he's comfortable to do that or not, because he will be in comms with your team commander.
Yeah.
If the team commander says, no, we're on a budget, just pull back and you can leave this objective, so be it. Mm-hmm. The idea is the team commanders will be sort of in charge of the game along with you, because you'll be in touch directly with each team to make sure that one team isn't getting steamrolled. We don't want a particular team to keep buying respawns to steamroll the other team. There's a reason we're putting these checks and balances in.
Like I said, at the end of the day, it's the team with the most gold bars. If you spend all your gold bars on respawns, you might not win the whole weekend. Your team, you might let the team down. You're
not going to win anything, but it's a game, isn't it? It's a bit of a light, friendly competition.
It's the bragging rights then. So blue team absolutely smoked you or something like that. It's
Now, what else can you do with the gold bars? Let's introduce your sort of character in the battle sim. I'm going to dress him up as Gaddafi, by the way. I'm not going to lie.
Something like
I'm
that.
going to make him wear a million medals. It's going to be funny.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen like The Death of Stalin, the comedy, when he takes off his jacket and there's just loads of medals. That's what I'm going to do.
Cue the meme.
So yeah, I've not come up with the name fully yet, but I know it's got about 4 different titles. I know there's His Excellency, Commander-in-Chief, Admiral, something along those lines. So I will be in a centralised location with my big pile of gold.
Yes, I love gold.
And I'll have my goon squad with me. So the goons will have two roles throughout the weekend. A will be, like what I said, dropping the objectives around in set locations, and the second part of that, it will be a team can come to the goons and say, look, we've been authorised by our commander. Here's 2 gold bars. I need some support to push this next objective.
Yes.
So for 45 minutes, so we still sort of debating on the
it's sort
time.
of per objective, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've put a cap on it, so you can't just hire them for the day.
No.
The idea is if one team is getting really badly steamrolled, whatever the case is, the other team commander who's not doing so well can potentially hire the goon squad, which can be up to 20 players, something like that. We're hoping for about 20 players on the goons, who are going to be a cohesive team. You can hire them to push the next objective, which will be at a certain time slot.
Yeah.
So you're almost guaranteed to get that objective that way.
Exactly.
But it's a trade-off because you've got to spend that gold bar or however much it'll be to get that extra support.
Yeah, definitely. And like, as well as that, we've obviously got the Land Rover that we've got on site with the gun on it. So it's a gun truck.
Is that the Snatch Land? I think we've affectionately named it the gun truck.
The gun
I don't
truck,
know
yeah.
the official name for that
It's
sort of
a
stuff.
Wimex Pathfinder, if you're a rivet counter. But we'll have the gun truck. That'll be quite a big asset for a team to hire, because you've got a LMG truck. You can either hire just the goons or the goons and the truck.
Yeah, and the truck will count as a respawn area for them. It'll come with a set amount of respawns.
Yeah.
So, for instance, it might cost you 2 gold for just the goons for an objective. It might cost you 3 gold for the goons and their gun truck. So you're essentially tripling the amount of goons you get for the gold. Somewhat, because they're going to be on medic and... Is it medic and dead? And then they go back to you, don't they?
Yeah, so I think we're going to do medic and maybe respawn on their truck.
If you've got the truck,
if you've got the truck, so yeah. If you've got the truck, medic and respawn on the truck. If not, medic and dead back to us.
And then
a bit of a cool down period, so you can't just come back and say, look, I've got loads of gold, I want you again. There's that half an hour cool down period. Helps with their fatigue and also stops a certain team from absolutely wiping the floor. But
one thing we forgot to mention is not only can you purchase goons and their vehicle, you can also purchase the goon squad's drone. So if you need some objectives sort of eyeing out first, you will get a bird's eye view of the map. One thing we will say is don't shoot the drone. Someone's been kind enough to bring it along. They've been kind enough to get it involved in the game where people can buy it with their gold bars. Don't be a dickhead and shoot it. Now, I will preface, if you guys want to put in the comment section below any suggestions you'd like to see before we set this in stone, because we've got the write-up done.
yeah,
We've spoke to Rob, the owner of OpTac. He's happy with it. But I want to make sure you guys who are going to be attending are happy with the game. If you want any major serious tweaks, I don't want like, oh, can we buy like rubber feet, like Greg's probably going to fucking put, or anything like that. But if you want any serious suggestions, just give us a shout and then put it in the comments. We'll chew it over.
Yeah, definitely. Like, my job as a game writer is to make sure that we are running the best game possible, whether that be for you guys or whether it be for OpTac, itself. I can only do so much. At the end of the day, it's the players who make the game. So
yeah, I mean,
please
we've
come to me with
spent
suggestions.
countless hours in the past few evenings just over the internet, just chatting on Discord, just trying to figure out a solid game plan.
Mm-hmm.
But we're only so many minds, we can push it so far.
Yeah.
But it's, for a bit of input, it'll go a long way.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Like, there's going to be main missions throughout the day. There's going to be some side missions. There's going to be missions, that the team commanders will have in their back pocket should teams look like they're, struggling, or guys are coming back, what do I do now? I'm bored. Open the envelope. All right, you've got to go and do this. Just keep players moving throughout the day.
Yeah.
And just adds to the excitement of it all and the fun aspects, which is what we're all here for.
Now, let's move on to why we've separated their fobs. Now, we're moving these fobs to the outskirts of the map. The reason we've done that is we can use as much playable area as the map as possible. Because one thing we've found is every time I've been to Optac, if there is a fob, you're not really playing in the fob's area that much, which is a shame because they're really cool locations.
Yeah, very cool.
They're fun to sort of fight over as such. And you're not really getting your money's worth out the site for that particular weekend. So what we've done is pushed the fobs right back, and that's the sort of the reasoning for that. Now they're going to be the primary respawns, and like you said, you can use your team's gun truck / transport vehicle as a respawn area. When they're both combined run out, you've got to go back to your main fob to regen. But by then, hopefully, that objective will have rolled over, and you'll be on the next one. So it's sort of get the vehicle back out for the next lot.
Yeah.
Now the idea is to keep people active, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We don't want a lot of deadlocks.
No, and that's why, for a reason why we're not making the fobs bumpable or attackable. So you're not going to get teams bogged down in their fob, not be able to move anywhere. And I think there's probably also a bit of a chat to be had about whether how long a certain team can stay on a location. There's a certain
I think
site.
let's be honest. We need to be saying to people during the game brief, look, when that objective's done, you get back to your fob. Get back to the fob for the next brief. Treat it as a game brief, like you're going back into the safe zone, a bit less casual, obviously, for a brief. That's what you're doing to get ready for the next objective. It's a mobile game. I am going to preface, if you're coming for this game, Optac is a very steep site. It's in a quarry. There's some steep hills, there's some long walks. It's not killer, but if you're a bit like me and you've got a bit portly over Christmas, bring extra water. Make sure if you've got inhalers, whatever it might be, bring it with you. And bring a few snacks.
Yeah, definitely snacks.
Just so you've got food and drink with you. So when you go back to the fob, you can just top up. It is important. I've noticed when I've played there, it really does help fuel you throughout the day.
100%. I mean, I've been team leaders on some of our battle sims, and the amount of times I've seen players just hardball it throughout the day and not take any water on, not eat the right food, and I just think you're not going to make it the 8 hours or the 12 hours. It just it won't work, and then you see them crumble, and not to say they're putting the blame back on us, but guys, you understand you're out here for a long period of time. Fuel yourself accordingly, because if not, you will just crumble.
Best mention. It's the first weekend in July. I've just realised we haven't introed with that, so I might chuck that at the start. Also, it's the Friday night camping, Saturday, Sunday play. What time's game start Saturday?
So game starts on Saturday at 10 a.m. and then runs through till 1600 hours. That's the same for both days.
Mm-hmm. What happens after 1600 hours? That's the question.
So after 1600 hours, we've got a bit of a shooting competition going on.
Yes. Now, all this is subject to change because we've got a few ideas for bits and bobs, but our good friends at Tropic Thunder, they want to run a shooting comp, which we'll be funding. And the idea is you can sign up to it. There'll be a tent in the area, like a gazebo type setup with a few banners and bits and bobs. You can go and put your name down. So after the game day, you can either go and get a beer, or you can sign up throughout the day to the shooting comp, and it's a bit like a 3-gun course, from what I can tell.
Yeah, so I mean, if it's anything like the one that I did, that Tropic Thunder ran on one of the Rumble events last year, it was a blast, absolute blast. I mean, it was fun. It wasn't too serious that time. It was just a laugh. But this time, I know we're trying to make a bit of a bigger deal out of it. There's going to be prizes, which we're sorting out through Optac. So that'll be.
You're talking
cool.
Sort of first, second, third prize.
Yeah, first, second, third prize. Maybe a wooden spoon if you absolutely guff it. But yeah,
you'll definitely get a dunce. I think we need to sort out Dunce's cap for like the last runner up.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that probably will be me because my VFC will explode again.
Yes, it's a VFC. But anyway, so what other facilities have got set up? We may as well mention, like honourable mention. So we've got the safe zone. Now, this is the primary concern for me. One of the reasons I set this event up originally was I didn't want it just to be a battle sim. Obviously, that's massively important. But the economy is down the fucking toilet if we're not already fully aware. We need to help small businesses where we can, small startups, even bigger businesses. Everyone needs that. The more publicity they can get, the more sales they can get, the more networking they can do, the better. And if I can run this event and not make a penny, but I help a few businesses, I'll be happy. That's the primary purpose for me. So if you want to, you can book is it a 3x3 slot? I might be wrong.
Yeah, 3x3 pitch.
A 3x3 pitch in the safe zone. It's just essentially a gazebo slot. You can book multiple if you've got a big setup, and you can come and set up your company. I don't care if you're a tech, I'm a tech, Negative Airsoft's coming, he's going to be a tech. It's a free-for-all. Come and do networking. That's the idea. If you need trade accounts, you need to meet people who've got more experience than you. You come to this event, set up a stall. How much was it a plot?
I think it was £40.
I think it was about £40. I can always put a correction in the thing above. And it's relatively inexpensive. I don't want it to be something like, say, the National Airsoft Festival, and I don't mean to shit on them in this regard, but it's not small business friendly, because it's good for second-hand sales and it's good for big business, but it's not good for those sort of little businesses who just want a cheap pitch to get somewhere. And my big sort of inspiration for this event was Shifty Rift. Now, Shifty Rift was a fantastic event because they basically said, look, cheap stalls, if you've got a business, come set up, and second-hand sales are a free-for-all. But if you're a business, make sure you just get a little plot. That's all we ask. As a stipulation for us, if you have a registered business and you want to be recognised as that, don't cheap out. It's only a cheap pitch. Get yourself a pitch and get yourself sorted. But if you want to come and sell your second-hand rifles, just bring your stuff. Bring it. Sell it for free. Go for it. That's the idea. I want it to be consumer-friendly. I want it to be pro-business, and try and help people out in this sort of... It's a bit of a trying time, isn't it? It's not going to get any better yet. Not for a while. So if we can help a few people, all the better, and we can have fun for a weekend, everyone's winning. That's the idea. We've got a few food vendors being booked on, again, subject to change. I'll update them on the social medias as things progress. We've got a mobile beer stand, converted horse box setup. We'll have a mini bar. We should, all being well, have quite a few guest ales, things of that nature. So again, that'll be another social media post you can follow, but that will most likely be the Bentley Brook Brewery, which is just down the road from me. And yeah, if you've got a business even like that, if you've got a food catering company or a beer company, a brewery, whatever it might be, by all means come up. It's not just an airsoft event. If you want to just sell your wares, as long as it's roughly related to that, give us a shout. Get in contact with me or Rob at Optac the Kingdom. I'll make sure his link is in the description below to get on the website, and all the booking links are there. Just remember, we're here to help. Don't be afraid to drop us a message. I'll happily answer it any time of the day. So, moving on from the safe zone, campground.
Right, okay. So, obviously, if you've been to Optac before, you know that there's plenty of ground to camp on. We've got a designated camping area where people can pitch tents. We've got a toilet block with showers and proper porcelain toilets, which I think is
proper nice shitters.
Yeah, which it's definitely a bit of a stark contrast to a lot of sites out there where you get a really stinky thunderbox.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, we have to pre-book this facility out for the event. It's not something that the site has ready access to. Now, it's essentially a wedding venue. It's got a proper toilet facility for both men and women with shower block, like a few showers in each of those toilet blocks. So not only can you go to the toilet in a nice warm room, there's also a decent shower. So it's not going to be a stinky weekend. You should be able to keep yourself pretty clean. The
showers there are very good as well. Yeah. I know a couple of events I have showered there and it's fantastic.
As far as the campgrounds are concerned, I'll put some drone flyover footage in. It's going to look a little bit boggy. They are currently, the landowner is currently working on proper drainage for the site. It's all going to be sorted. Again, keep your eyes out for that as things progress on the social media. I'll make sure it's put up.
Probably worth mentioning as well, it has been probably the wettest 2 months, I think.
Yeah.
I've known, well, I mean, not for a while, but yeah.
We came up last weekend purely for the sake of filming, getting drone footage, and loads of the sort of easy chuck up structures, the sort of almost flat pack stuff, had flat packed in the wind. The big decent stuff was obviously fine, but we've got a lot of construction to get stuck into again. We're coming up to give you a hand whenever's required. And
yeah, I mean, and that's one thing I will say about Tech. You know, when we marshal the team together for a build day, you know, things do fly up very quickly.
Yeah.
And it's all about, you know, lending a hand. And we get a couple of regulars who come down, even if it's just a case of carrying scaffolds from A to B. You know, many hands make light work.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, the footage will probably show it's quite wet, but you know the event's in July, isn't it? So it's
I've picked July because it should be nice, relatively warm for camping, not ridiculously hot that we're all dying of heat stroke, but it should be about right for camping. Should be fairly dry, touch wood. Yeah, it should be a good time, and we're not in between some of the bigger events, so hopefully it's not going to impact people's wallets. There's a reason I've picked the times and dates we have.
I know Optech usually run their events at the end of every month, so our big events are at the end of every month. Obviously, this event's at the beginning of July, so it's not got a big event, a bigger event, sorry, you know, the week before, so it should be, it's fairly good for people to get to.
Now, like I said, if you guys want to check out any of the other events, please go and check their social media channels or the website. I'll make sure it's in the link in the description below. Now, there's a few things we didn't mention that we want to make sure we've covered before we move on. One of them being the gold bars. It's a one-man carry.
Yeah. Seem like real weight. You know, we don't want one person rocking up and I'm issuing you 5 gold bars and then you can sprint back off to your fob. Share them amongst your mates. One-man carry. Hide them because we are going to be able to search players. It's probably worth mentioning as well that, you know, if you've got a gold bar and someone approaches you, don't bullshit them. I don't want it. The
idea is we don't want people physically searching each other if possible. It's just a bit sketchy nowadays. So what I'd rather happen is if you do get searched and you have a gold bar, it's a yes mate, I've got one, here you go. It's that simple. The airsoft is a game of honesty. I'd rather people just be honest. It keeps the game fair. Moving on.
Yeah, it's like how we run our HVT system, Optech. You get given a HVT tag, which is supposed to be on your person, you know, visible. You know, we all know we all carry too much kit. Sometimes it gets tucked away in a pocket or behind a strap. If you get hit and you are asked for your HVT, you have to, yes, I am. There you go, click it off, give it to somebody else. There's no point in hiding. There's no point in cheating online. It's just a bit of a dick move, isn't it?
So that's the sort of the one-man carry rule out the way. Now, if anyone has any questions that have popped up, like we said, just drop it in the comments. If there's enough questions that I feel I'll respond to briefly in the comments, but if we need to do a follow-up video, we can do that. That's not a problem, so don't worry. Sunday. Game start, what time?
Game start at 10 a.m. again and run through till 4.
Let's be honest, people are probably going to be hungover. I'd say probably subject to change, we'll say 10 a.m. If people are commenting saying I want to start earlier, we can, but it's going to take an amount of comments.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to probably be hungover.
We're going to have to go through the whole sort of re-corona again and all of that, which is, you know, going to take a while depending on how many people are there. So, you know, 10 a.m. as now is a rough estimate of when we're starting. Ideally, I think we plan on doing a sort of reversal of the previous day, so we'll switch fobs, not have the same objectives, but we'll have similar structure objectives.
Yeah, the game structure is going to be very much the same.
Yeah,
it's just different objectives. Things are going to change. There might be a HVT in one, it might be a rocket tube you've got to carry in the other. I'm not going to give too much away because A, things might change, and B, I don't want to give it all away. You can sort of.
I think there's going to be
I look forward to it.
It's worth saying there's a plethora of props we've got.
Yeah,
you know, some of them aren't just going to be inanimate objects.
Yeah.
There we go.
What time's going to be tool up time? What time do we want people off site Sunday? Are we saying sort of like 5:30, something like that, 6 o'clock?
I think, 5:30, 6 o'clock.
What time's Index Sunday?
Index is about 1600, so 4 o'clock. So same again as before. I think the gates close at 6. I think is on the website. So people off for 6.
Yeah, we need people sort of off site for 5:30, latest 6 o'clock. Because any time after that, you're getting fucking locked in. I think that covers pretty much everything. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
No, like we said, obviously, just chuck it in the comments. If you want us to do a follow-up video, we can. It's not a big job. And, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone there. Don't forget, there's going to be plenty of people turning up, such as Negative Airsoft, all being well, Sam Liggett from Kingdom of Airsoft. We've got Waldo coming with all his high kappa parts, those sorts of bits and bobs. I've reached out to people like Nuprol. Again, everything's subject to change, and I'll make sure it's updated on social media as things go. Anything you're particularly looking forward to?
I'm just looking forward to being all garbed up with medals and handing gold bars out to people. I think
I'm
that's
going
going
to make sure it weighs like at least 10 kilos with all them
100%,
medals. It's going to be horrendous.
It's going to be horrendous, yeah. And really lean into the LARPing side of things. There'll probably be some accent that'll stick for the first 20 minutes, and then after it starts hitting my throat, probably ditch it off and go back to my my northern.
Now,
Sheffield.
one thing I will quickly mention before I forget is the Goon Squad are a neutral faction when not in play. When you've hired them, they'll get their armbands on to suit that team.
Yeah.
So there won't be any confusion with that. I best just figure that bit out now, because there will be that question.
Yeah, so if we're going off, obviously we're going off red and blue team. The Goons, when before they deploy out with their whatever teams hire their services, will make sure that they are suitably armbanded up, so there's no confusion.
So, I think that being that, thank you for coming down, and don't forget to check out your podcast.
My
Do you want to give it your
podcast,
best?
yeah.
Be your best to a shameless plug.
Shameless plug. So Sabre Tactical Airsoft Group, that's mine and my good friend's podcast. We have just finished season 1, which was a bit of a introduction to airsoft for any newbie players. The production quality was not there. There was a few sort of kinks we need to iron out, but season 2, all being well, starts filming in a couple of weeks, so stay posted.
You say production quality wasn't there. It's still better than our first tries. You did better than us, and ours was a fucking shit show. So
I'm pretty sure we uploaded one video in portrait mode, which I don't know how we've done, so we have to figure that out. But yeah, no, it's go and watch away. Leave us your best comment. Quite a lot to happen in the new year. I'm going to do a segment on camouflage because I'm a bit of a camo whore.
We'll have to get you guys down here for a proper podcast as well in-house.
Yeah.
It should be good.
And likewise, we'll get you up as well.
So, I think that being that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go check out their podcast as well. And I'll see you all at the event, and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers, chaps.